Jacob. So
this dude showing up with a freaking 10
There's
ton.
so much, and even if we had more, I don't think it.
oh my god.
Vaughn getting just doesn't burn.
No, that is that Vaughn?
Oh, I like this.
You also have gigantic hands.
In that car right now. We didn't fly all the ways here to watch you walk around in a sling.
Formula Drift, Road Atlanta, coming up. Guess what? Gonna save you $5 on your tickets. Use OZATL at checkout when you get those tickets. Save yourself $5. See you in Atlanta. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettins, and today we've got Mr. Matt Soppa on. Is that, you know what? Has anybody ever actually clarified? Is it Soppa or it's not like Soppa? Like, is there any emphasis that we've been getting wrong this whole time?
I've never heard that pronunciation that you just use. It's usually Soppa that they mess it up as.
Soppa.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Spanish speaking people never mess it up because it's soup with two P's in Spanish.
Got it. I wasn't sure if this is like a Meg Mommy, Meg Moomy situation again, where like everyone just definitively
I'm still upset at him because when the first time I announced was at Super Drift in 23, I believe it was. And I made a point to like ask him, like, how the heck do you say your name? And he told me, and then it was still wrong. I'm like, I swear he told me the wrong way, but I don't know. But I still don't know the right way. It's Mag Mommy, right? Her Moomy?
I think it's Moomy. I think it's Meg Moomy.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember writing it down phonetically.
I think we strayed away from Meg Moomy because it sounded like moo, like a cow sound in it. We're like, there's no way that's right. So
yeah, because I remember writing it down phonetically as Mag Mommy, like, you know. But
like MAW, like Meg. Yeah, that's okay.
No, like your mommy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that should lead us into what our discussion is today. If you can't read the title, we are going to do a rundown on ProSpec. So this is the list that is available on the website. Fun fact: this is coming out right before FD Atlanta first round of ProSpec, but this is recorded a little bit before that. Just fun. Matt and I have very busy schedules, so this is the only time we could figure it out.
Yeah, so, you're already in
if
tomorrow.
I look tired, if I look tired, it's because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning when we're starting. But hey, we are both very busy people, and this is what needs to happen sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. I mean, really, when it comes to ProSpec, no major changes, no major technical changes that I had seen. Tracks were all the same. It's kind of a rinse and repeat year when it comes to that side of things, which I'm not necessarily mad about.
Yeah, we're on the same tire, GT radial, same size, obviously. We did kind of do like a pro and ProSpec shuffle with a few people. I don't know if did I see Power on your list?
Power is on my list, yes. I think the only one that we weren't entirely sure about at this time was Joao Barrion.
Okay.
He was the only one that went down, but I didn't see in the registration stuff and the back-end paperwork stuff, I didn't see it unless there's, still something that needs to go through for that to happen. So, but yeah, I think Mike Power is kind of the big story, and we'll definitely get to him. So we're going to go alphabetically based on the first name. So if you want to follow along, you can go to FD's website. I highly recommend that. So it's a 2025 ProSpec drivers list. You can find it basically just going over drivers and then sorting by ProSpec. Pretty easy. We've got a couple of our own notes in here, and then Matt and I will try and tap into our fantastic memories to try and bring up whatever we can recall about some of these drivers. But a lot of this information is pulled from their socials or from the information that the drivers put in there. So cool. Well, let's start off with Mr. Adam Hushman. So I know Adam out of the Great Lakes Pro-Am series. So a Mustang driver right off the bat. So somebody I know and like, and then somebody that you by default have to like because they drive a Mustang.
I mean, I do like Adam. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also part of a group that is called Mustang people who hate, or it's Mustang owners that hate Mustang owners. I'm sure there's a group for every car community. Like that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he's in a new Edge chassis, so that's There's a couple cool exceptions about that chassis. I don't know if everybody's privy to that, but it's one of the few that we're allowed an aftermarket subframe, front subframe on that car, and a specific one. Yeah. Not sure if we covered that last year or not, because last year was Adam's rookie year. So they're allowed to use a UPR tubular subframe because the Fox chassis, which covers 79 to 04, is the worst subframe ever to work with in drifting. You'd have to cut so much out of it to become usable to get angle or clearance, tire clearance, that it's just a mess. And like, it's something that Kevin didn't really want to. He's like, let's just make it one part like they do. I think for now there's a Supra, the 4th gen Supra, and so yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, but he does have a hybrid, so it's an LS powered Mustang, which is the bane of my existence. But no, good dude. He came out. He had a few mechanical struggles, if I remember correctly, but he showed up, as well as anybody can in this sport and in ProSpec, I feel. Yeah,
speaking broadly, like it's such a tough division to come into and be successful as a rookie. Like if you're breaking, realistically, if you're breaking top 15 as a rookie in ProSpec, it's a pretty good year. If you're top 10, you should be very, very excited about that. And most drivers coming in are going to be 25 and down, like realistically. There's definitely people that have done significantly better than that in their rookie year. We'll get to like Nick Jimenez, holy cow, who had a really, really good breakout year. But all things considered, that's kind of what you have to more or less be ready for. Although there's drivers that, like I said, do much better. Really cool to see the kind of the program he set up as well. What is it? Wall Hugs Motorsports. So
and I love that term
they put in there. Yeah. So they're really pushing on mental health awareness, which is great, and some things like the suicide hotline as kind of like a promotional thing. So we haven't seen a ton of drivers do this, where they really kind of put a charity or something behind their program or at the forefront of their program. But I kind of hope it's something that catches on. It's super cool, and something that doesn't get talked about enough, really. So like to see anybody that's doing something different with their program, especially if it's going to benefit others. Moving into a driver that's been around for long enough now.
Few, since at least Pro 2 days.
I think he was probably in the last year of Pro 2, if I remember correctly. Mr. Adam Knapik. So got a couple of his stats up here. Looks like, results wise, kind of in the lower pack, and still hovering around that kind of 25 to 35 mark when it comes to results, but really good backing, Donut Media stuff. I didn't realize he worked at Donut Media. His Instagram has him as Shop Daddy and Technical Producer. Like, damn.
I like that.
It's a very Hollywood title.
Yeah. Of course, I was watching how were they doing the high-low with the Mustang drags, of course, just to see.
Oh, right.
If they were getting the right guidance and not, and what they were doing, and seeing the struggles that they were going through. I was like, yeah, I know what you guys are doing wrong, or you should have done this, blah blah blah. But maybe they called in the wrong influencer. But I digress.
It's too late to call them at that point, right? Like you can't. It's like once the episode's aired, you can't like call them.
Yeah, I'm like Leo, I can't whistle that well, so. But yeah, Adam, super cool dude. He's always got a smile on his face, and even if he doesn't see the results, he's still having fun out there, which is always great to see.
Yeah, I think he's one of those drivers where even if the results aren't coming, he's having a really, really good time, and he's also got some good backing, producing great content. So it's one of those like, at least on behind the scenes side of things are going quite well, even though on the track, maybe not the position he wants to be in. Realistically, if somebody doesn't win the season, they're not in the position they wanted to be in. Like that's, it's kind of how it goes at this point. Moving into a driver. So, we talked about this being recorded ahead of time. So this driver's episode will be out by the time this episode comes out, but I've already recorded it. That's with Alex Jagger, another guy that's been around for a number of years. Congrats to him on having his first kid recently. Soppa knows all about the fun of that as our delay this evening was making sure that the little one was down and ready to go for the night. So
just kind of running solo just tonight because the wife is doing...
Oh, I didn't know you were actually running solo tonight. Okay. This makes more sense then. Yeah,
otherwise I would have been like, hey, it's kind of your turn. But she's doing something with, I don't know if you've seen the stuff she's doing with the warehouse at the old Sunkist warehouse here in Mesa. And so they're having Arizona filmmakers having an event down there. So she's got to be down there, kind of host and whatnot. So just the Soppas at home. So just the boys.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Alex Jagger moves like Jagger, right?
moves like Jagger. I think that's what we've leaned into at this point in time. Fifth season in FD, which is pretty crazy. I didn't realize it's been that long. 11 years drifting. So I just realized my notes weren't updated in there, so that's my bad.
I was like, it was the fifth season.
Yeah, it just says fifth.
I think he's still in the 370, right? I think that nothing big is going to change there. He's always kind of one of those, 22 is a big year, and then it looks like it's trailed off, obviously, and being 11th and 21st in the next subsequent years after 22, and he just needs that breakout moment. I feel like just one of those drivers that is just about there, and it's always a little thing. Like we always mention, drifting there's a lot of luck involved, if we're being honest.
But of course,
he's always a contender in my books, and I may or may not have said like sometimes I expect more from certain people, and he's one of those guys. Like if he messed up, it's like I don't want to say I'm mad, but sometimes I get disappointed, which is sometimes worse. But like the guy as well, and he's easy to get along with, and hope he does well, as I do.
I think
all the guys.
He's somebody that I've talked to a lot about, like when it comes to performance stuff, and he's not a fan of seating. He's always done really well in qualifying.
That's true.
So he's one of the drivers that's kind of affected by qualifying not being around anymore. Certain drivers were affected by that a little bit harder than others because they really made up their points and their positioning based on qualifying. And I think for a lot of people too, it's kind of like it's 2 extra laps in their mind before they go into battle. Like it's 2 practice laps, or at least 1 extra practice lap. So I think he's just one of those drivers that not having qualifying affected him more than certain other drivers did. So,
I mean, I get both sides of the coin. I personally enjoy the seating way more.
I do too.
Just from being at the start line for pro and and in the booth, it's just especially in ProSpec, you see a little more struggles and stuff, but I like seeing the battles.
Yeah, I agree. That's what we come here to see. My only, I guess, gripe against not having qualifying is it is an opportunity for us to speak specifically about one driver at a time and provide a bit more insight. It's the only thing that I wish we could find a way, but I think either with the podcast or even some of the practice stuff, it helps a little bit more, but it still doesn't resolve that situation completely.
You just got to give Jared an elbow back. Like, listen, there's something I got to tell you about this guy, or that during this.
You did a leg slap. That's what I've learned. I don't know about you, but I got to. Does he do the leg slap on you? Because I got to do that to him sometimes. Yeah. Hey, you come away with a bruise on one leg at the end of a weekend. Moving into next driver, which is Mr. Alan Boss. So, second year in ProSpec, another driver coming out of, I guess, the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, Yeet Fleet. Love the name. Absolutely love the name. Looks like he's sticking with the 350Z. Yeah.
Yeah, he last year was a little rough for him. He kind of took flight in St. Louis a little bit. He did a 50-50 grind on that wall, along with a few other drivers in both the series. But he's another one of those guys that has such a good attitude, and his mom spots for him, which is super cool. So, hats off to him for staying in it and getting after it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of putting in the time. That's really what it comes down to, right? You can be really, really good in the series that you're in, and then you realize when you get into Prospec that everybody that's in that group is good in the series that they came from. So you just gotta, and a lot of them have just had more time on those tracks.
For sure.
So, okay, moving into a driver with a ton of seat time, Amanda Sorenson. So I guess, a lot of talk about her from last season, first female podium. Big change is adding her. She's being added to the Rockstar team, which is massive for both like funding and exposure and just elevating the program even further. So that's a huge signing. I think, she's the only Prospec driver with, I would say that kind of level, but I guess really going back to Alex Jagger and Nos, like there's something there as well. So.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. I think everyone enjoyed that. That's super cool. And now we'll get to him later, but we're going to have another Sorenson in the series as well, which I saw. I think his car was at Long Beach last week, completely naked, with no livery.
Yeah, I was going to say most of it was there.
Yeah. As far as like her, she's, like you said, getting a lot of seat time. So I think we're going to see a lot of contention from her this year. I just have this feeling with, maybe getting some pointers from even Connor, as we know that they're a thing, right? So maybe we'll see some more tenacity.
Yeah, I think so. And, she's very busy. We talked about it, I think even like our first Prospec show, we're like, man, if she can really focus just on drifting, like what can she do? And then it seems to be there's less and less racing series that she's competing in, or it's just like a one-off thing. But I think this could be it. This, especially with her other brother coming up, like if there's any year to go for the pro license, this is going to be the one.
Yeah, and I feel like she's having more fun every subsequent year. Every year she seems to have more fun. That's when I feel like she's driving the best. Because that's when she got her podium, she was like, I was just like having a blast, and she ended up where everyone wants to. So that was cool.
Yeah, I agree. Moving into a driver that's was really all about the fun up until recently. Brian Hop. Hang on, let me see. I'm gonna take a stab at this one.
Okay.
Hoplamazian?
Yeah, I think
Brian, let us know. You think so?
Hip Hop Anonymous?
Hip Hop a Laser Man. So Brian's been a staple in like Northeast drifting for 20 years. I don't know if he would be like an extension of that whole scene with Ryan and like the Drift Alliance guys, or where he'd fall in. Like, I don't know enough about the specific groups within the Northeast drift scene, like the Bloodmaster scene. Like there's like kind of, not really, I don't want to call them like cliques or cults or anything like that, but there's like specific grouping or groups that drift in that area that are like, anyways, I can't remember exactly which group he is a part of.
They're just tightly knit, and
but it's like, there's I'm trying to think of like other examples. Like in Atlanta, there's like 3 or 4 different groups of drivers that all drive together, right? And they'll kind of like move around different organizations. I'm sure. California's got it as well, even like between different series. So it's like little cliques, if you will. I feel like that's belittling what it is, but I think you get the idea.
For lack of a better word, it's a team.
yeah, basically. It's probably a much more respectable way of putting it. I just don't know, like team, like do they get jackets? They get jerseys? What makes you a team? But
I think a name. I think they got it, and I think they're, the matching liveries and stuff like that. Because we got our local one team, I guess you could call, is our Black Cloud Brotherhood, which is
interesting.
Consists of one of our guys on staff, Max, and a couple of my friends. They're. I guess they're probably like friends first, I guess. And then maybe they just all like, hey, join in our hobby.
Should we make this official?
Yeah, you do this, you buy this, and I'll buy that too. And then we'll have fun.
Interesting. Anyways, Brian's been a staple in that scene for a long, long time. And then kind of taken things a little bit more serious in the last couple of years, really pushing for competitive drifting, moving away from, still having fun, but putting more of a focus on the competitive side. We've seen a lot of great drivers out of the Northeast, specifically out of like Englishtown. But yeah, bringing out an S13. So, classic chassis. I think there's going to be just a lot of eyes on him. It was the note that I'd put down is like, when you're coming out of that group, when you're moving out of maybe more of the party and fun scene and into the competition side of things, it's, that's a lot of pressure. And that's a crazy area to be coming out of too. Like there's so many incredible drivers that are, specifically at Englishtown.
For sure. Yeah.
But excited to see what he does in his rookie year and excited to get a final pronunciation on his name. Yeah, Brian, just hit us up. Just let us know.
Easier, right. Brian, to pronounce is next.
Yeah.
I seen him in Long Beach, actually. I was like, oh, yeah. Gave him the advice, Mr. Brian Wills. I was like, hey, he came out just swinging Atlanta last year. Like, he went 117%, but it was still enjoyable. And I was like, everyone's like, hey, maybe you should dial it down. I was like, nope, you do you. You keep doing that. That seems like his style. And I really liked his drive. It was aggressive, but maybe a percent or two, but he was still going to go over 100%. It just seems like his character to do that. And sometimes it pays off. Most of the times it might not. So always someone to look out for, I think, even though he was only rookie last year and he did 28. I can't remember if he had any mechanical failures or not, but or he took himself out with some wrecks, but definitely a heavy charger.
Yeah, I mean, we need aggressive drivers like that. I mean, you need to know where the line is, but ultimately that aggressive driving is kind of, I mean, it's what gets a lot of views, gets a lot of clicks. It's very easy to understand when someone drives like that. Just keeping it controlled and keeping it on track is kind of the key to taking home the win, especially in ProSpec. It's so much about consistency.
Absolutely, especially with it weighted so much with the 4 rounds, which we always talk about. All right.
I still don't know if it's a benefit or a drawback to only be 4 rounds, but
yes.
Yeah, exactly. I would say maybe the most anticipated driver this year
for ProSpec.
I'd put my money behind that for ProSpec. Yeah. We alluded to him earlier on, but Cameron Sorenson, so the youngest of the Sorensons so far. Maybe there's another one coming. I don't know. I'm not going to make that speculation.
Like which generation? Jeez, Jake.
No, I meant like if Randy wanted to have another kid, I'm not going to. They still could. Jeez, man.
Obviously,
calm down. It's too soon.
Anyway, yeah, you got a lot of notes on this kid. Holy Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, it easy to research, let's just say. Very, very public in the racing sphere. So just the information's there. And I mean, hey, this is just a note to ProSpec drivers. If you want us as announcers to be able to talk about you like very easily, should make it very easy for us to talk about you. So make sure, fill out all your information for the website, put your information on your social media, post about what your car looks like, all that stuff, because it makes our lives a lot easier when it comes to notes.
Have a pronounceable name or a nickname.
Or a nickname, yeah. Yeah, can you put it phonetically next to your name? That'd be great. But yeah, I had heard how good Cameron was, 2 years ago. I started hearing rumblings of him just, wanting to get into driving, what he's like. He's reckless, I think is just one way to put it. Just has no fear. I mean, when you're at that age, you just have no fear, right?
Or, yeah, I feel like I was going to get into, like when we were talking about Brian Wills and that thing we like to call mechanical sympathy that some people just don't have. And especially if you're not the one wrenching on it, like I don't know what Cameron's involvement is in building it. I think maybe Brandon probably does most of that, if I would have to assume without talking to him.
I'm sure, listen, if my little brother wrote off his car, I'd be sure, like for sure he's going to get in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. But still, like I don't know. It could be different the way they're raised and versus I was anyway. Like they probably know the limits of the car, and he's probably got the best guidance, one of the best guidance in the country. But having no sympathy, I think not worrying about the car as much is a key to doing well, because I have too much mechanical sympathy when I like drove Pro-Am and even just regular grassroots stuff. I know in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have to fix this myself. And I know what things cost. I know how much time it takes, so that it can hold you back. And if you don't have that worry, I think you can push things a little further.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I really do think that's fair. I think he still has respect for the vehicles, but I think he also knows that like everything can be repaired at some point.
Right.
But yeah, what I have written down is that he is officially the youngest licensed Formula Drift driver at 13. So yeah, which is crazy.
What were you doing when you were 13?
Man, not that. That's for sure. I can't even remember. What grade are you in at 13? Like going into grade 9? Are you like in high school? Yeah. Or are you still in public school?
Yeah.
I don't know, it was way too long ago.
Middle school.
Yeah. We don't have middle school in Canada, so it's a whole...
Oh, it's probably still playing with Legos, to be honest.
I mean, are you not still?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have more
different.
Legos now than I ever had as a child. But
yeah.
Just because you can afford them
now.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to have your toddler take them apart.
Exactly.
But, man, that's huge. And, because we just had... was Manoa last year the youngest? He held that title?
Yeah, I want to say at 14.
I
remember
14.
Brandon, I think, came in at 14 or 15 as well, though.
Okay.
When he first came in, because that was like a huge story. And then we could go all the way back to Ken Gucci and how old he was when he came in, but I think he was 15 or 16.
He was 15 or 16, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, he's got a lot of accolades.
That's what I've written down, but yeah. Karting, off-road short course, WORCS motorcycles, side-by-sides, side-by-side youth 1000, mint 400. Yeah, just king of the hammers youth. Like, let's just say the kid knows how to wheel. And yeah, let's
see what he's got.
That's it. I'm just very excited to see what he's got. So next up, Carson Ruger. This is somebody I think we both know.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised to see him on the roster, because he's one of the few people that I actually have to look up to. And, him and James Dean are about the only two that I can think of off the top of my head. But, so he's going to have that Rome support. And I think his car, from when I was looking at the fan guide last week, kind of looks like, a Rome Charpentier car. So
yeah,
that's good for him, and excited to see what he comes. I didn't know he drove, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did I until it kind of came up. I mean, he worked as Rome spotter, and he's driving an E92. It looks like, it looks like a Rome car. I don't know if it was or is a Rome car officially, or his own, or spare parts of, or something like that. But
I've lost count of like what cars were Rome's, and he's got build one for Shanahan, and he's got a 1 Series, and then his old E36, and that, and the other thing. I'm like, at least they're all BMWs. That's easy to keep track of anyway. But kind of a soft-spoken, gentle giant. I would say, and maybe he's got that Odie mentality. Gets in the car and switches and throws down. So only time will tell in a few weeks.
One of the things that came out of his profile, which was kind of cool, and we see this a few times in these, he attended a Formula Drift Pro event and then immediately fell in love. Like, it's always neat when you hear the stories of like, oh, I did a ride along, I went to this event, and then it's like, now they're competing and now they're driving at this. Like, we're now at that point where, people could have gone to these events as kids and now they're competing in it, which is, it's kind of cool now that the sport's like a full generation old. I think a generation's 20 years, isn't it? Something like that.
I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. It depends on how early you want to procreate, I guess.
Jesus. All Already off the rails, man. Already
Yeah,
off the rails.
Here we go. Speaking of rails,
Speaking of off the rails, I feel like this is. Yeah, this is yours. This one's yours. I'll let you have this one.
Buchanan or Cannonball, I think we called him Buchanan Cannonball. Driving a 350Z. He's got the Ricky Bobby hands in the interview, and hilarious guy. I think he always prepares mentally for those, whether they're going to happen or not. And I think we should just make them happen regardless.
Just more interviews with him.
Yeah. So he's definitely looking forward to those, and his driving. Like, look how well he did. Just that shy of getting a overall trophy there, fourth in last year, and not to mention his freshman year. So he's got, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. You do so well in your first. Now you only got 3 spots up to go, and you gotta, that's some pressure there, because you obviously don't want to go backwards, but there's only so little room to go up, and there's a big field. So come on, Cannonball, let's go.
Yeah, based on the old rule set, he would have had his pro license, because we used to hand out top 5, but not so much anymore. I do think we skipped over somebody. I don't know if that was on purpose, but Christopher Leonard. I know.
Definitely not. No, he's gonna give me some shit about that. I don't know what I was doing. I was following your little bouncy thing, and then off recording, I'm not wearing my glasses because I looked whatever. So I'll let you start this one out then while I recollect.
It's all good. It's all good. Christopher Leonard, so a driver we had on the show. If you want a full in-depth overview on what he's like and how he is as a human being, make sure to go check that out. But another Ford driver, another Mustang fan. So I figured, that would
another fusion drifter.
I know, another fusion drifter. Yeah.
Yeah. What the heck?
Is it
copycat? No,
are you like? Yeah, I was gonna say, are you happy about this? Is it like cool? Another person in the family? You're like, dude, like just get your own idea. Like go get a Fiesta or something.
You have no idea how many people on the internet machine get a hold of me. Be like, hey, how much would it cost if I want to do this? To my Fusion, because my motor's blown up and blah blah blah. And I tell them a price and never hear from him again. But when Chris, obviously I knew him before he had this idea to do the same thing with a second generation Ford Fusion. I was like, yeah, this is what I did. It practically bolts up in the rear. It's silly with Mustang parts, and he already had a wrecked Mustang, but he decided to put a Eco Smoosh in it. But it's also, the only reason I'm jealous is because he kept it a street car when I did not keep mine streetable, which was my biggest regret, because I bought mine wrecked and I didn't retitle it. It was, none of the bags went off, and I could have, registered it and insured it and then had a V8 street car, but now it's full track. It's okay. I got other cars to go enjoy on the street. But what was the question?
If you were happy that somebody else has done it, or like, if it's like, man, okay.
I'm happy that somebody finally did it as well, because there was, like I said, so many people asking. You get all those ask holes that I like to call, and there is one other channel. I don't know if you ever follow them. They're called Build It Yourself.
No.
They made a 4-valve V10 Ford engine out of so it's, I forget what the displacement is, but it's, so instead of, like, there's been a 3-valve and a 2-valve V10, but they made their own heads. I think they used a production block, but anyway, they ended up putting this into a Lincoln Continental that is based on the Fusion chassis. And so they did the same thing. They made it all Mustang subframes and stuff, and it was really cool. And they're like the only other, besides Chris Leonard, myself, that actually made a rear-wheel drive car that like was almost rear-wheel drive from the factory, like easy, because the rear subframe, again, practically bolted into it. So Mustang things. He's got a fresh engine, and he's just ripping in Texas this weekend, which would have been the week after Long Beach. So we're on the time frame here, and sounds really good. He He's gone through a little bit of struggles with he switched to WiseFab last year, and so I think he's kind of refining the car a little more, probably adding some lightness and looking to see him charge a little harder.
Nice. Yeah. What is it I had pulled up there? 18th, I think it was 18th last year. So not terrible, but yeah, obviously good bit of room to improve. Give me 1 second. I get to, you're dealing with children who are sleeping. I get to go give my 11-year-old shit for not sleeping. So, and playing video games, which I just heard.
So we're going to do a clap thing.
1 second. I'll be right. Yeah, Kyle knows my struggles. He's the editor. He gets it. I'll be right back.
All right.
Just never give a kid a laptop, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, screen time.
It's just like, you know what? They're normally really good, and it's like, okay, I have to record. I just need you guys to be quiet. But like, he'll get playing with his friends and just get like way into it. And like, we're pretty good at like, he's 11. We moved him away from his entire family, like all of his friends and stuff. So it's like, cool. You want to game with your friends? Like, that's cool. But then it was like, he got a little heated in Minecraft. I'm like, all right, that's it. Like, you're done. So
hey, park it, bud. You're done.
He already gotten shit for it once today. So his mom heard him talking to his friends the way that boys talk to each other.
Yeah,
and he already gotten shit once. So
it reminds me of one. I think I was playing GoldenEye up until like 1 a.m. My dad woke up and like, this is one of the only times that he swore at me. He was like, "Get your ass in bed." When I was like that age. So, all right. Yeah. 1, 2, skip a few.
Thing. All right. Moving into next driver, Cole Richards. So I still have very high hopes for Cole Richards. I've seen a lot of really good driving out of him. I think with a bit more time, that's all it is. Like just a bit more time. Realistically, from what I've seen, his only, I wouldn't say his only losses, but a lot of his losses just come from like a strange mistake where you're like, dude, you had this, you were like, everything was there ready to go and just got either overzealous or I wouldn't say, I don't know of any occasion where he wasn't aggressive enough, but it's usually just got in a little too deep and then couldn't find his way out of it.
Yeah, probably just a little refinement of, experiencing. It's kind of going back to, I was talking about earlier about Alex Jagger, about, it's kind of disappointed, but you got to remember how young Cole is and, may not have all experience, even though he does have a good spotting support. I'm pretty sure Taka is still spotting for him. I don't know if you can confirm or deny for me, Jacob, but
it's either him or Greg Bussell. Yeah, okay. It's either him or Greg Bussell. So it's like you've got two very
one
different people.
But the other, yeah.
But both really good eyes in the sport. So
sure.
Yeah, I think everything's there. It's going to be a refinement of what he can do and just time. That's it. A lot of this is just time. It's seat time, and not just seat time in general. Like seat time in a pro or pro spec level car against other pro or pro spec drivers. That seems to be the major differentiator now, where like at one point it was just like, okay, get as much seat time as you can. But I think pro for sure, but even in pro spec, if you're not driving in a car that's at that level, it's just, I would say it's like, only 30% of the practice. And if you're not driving with people at your same caliber, it's even less, or a caliber better than you. It's even less. So that's the thing.
Something that always stuck with me. I think Reeder was one of those guys who told me that same thing. He's like, yeah, if I go practice in the pro car, it's kind of pointless if I don't have another pro car or driver to drive with in that level of a car. He's like, my practice is at FD.
Yeah. No, and I think that just, if you really look at the drivers that do incredibly well, like whether it's at pro spec or pro, the common denominator is that they drive a pro car often against other pro level drivers. That seems to be really what it is. And that's either they've driven an FD for a long period of time, or they've driven a lot of series in a lot of other cars and have gotten there. So, but it's also incredibly expensive and very difficult to practice at that level with that level of car, with that level of driver. So just, it's easy for us to say it like, hey, just go do this thing and you'll be better. But we're not paying the bills. So
yeah, I always like those guys that break down the cost of each lap, and I always get a kick out of it because it's pretty eye opening when you do quantify it like that, but also almost disheartening. Like, what are we doing? But it's
then you look at other sports and realize that our motorsport's not nearly as bad as a lot of other motorsports when it comes to
absolutely.
cost.
Like I have a lot of, or not a lot, but a few road racing friends, and I'll tell them how much tires I go through, and they're like, yeah, we almost go through the same amount of tires, but they're on all 4 corners.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. And just staffing and parts and licensing and travel and stuff like that. It's all in there. And sometimes they're doing, series that are 16 rounds or, 10 or 12 or 20. Like, these are 4 and 8. So it's not cheap, but in the grand scheme of motorsports, it's relatively affordable, which is kind of scary. Somebody else that's, driven a ton of different motorsports, and knows the cost of that. Colette Davis. So another massively anticipated driver. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes, a lot of views on this as well. But really, really interested to see how it all comes together for her, because she's got it. And I've seen a lot of Colette's driving, especially in the last year and a bit with kind of the LZ World Tour stuff. And she has a very similar kind. It's deceiving. Like, she'll go out and practice and she seems very hesitant, and then by the 3rd or 4th lap, she's got it run down, and then it's just the refinements. So I think as long as she doesn't get in her own head about that, like the first couple of laps being a little off, she's driven a lot, and she's driven a lot of different vehicles at a lot of different calibers, and, has the backing, has everything else. Be really, really interesting to see how well she does in a rookie season.
Yeah, it's that whole, I feel like if, like you said, you can get in your head so much. Myself is guilty. Anyway, I'm guilty of that as well. And it's a game of inches in between the ears, and having that much pressure, not only, her background and, being another female driver, to boot, there's going to be a lot of eyes on that. So it'd be interesting to see.
I think we can't ignore, like being in a relationship with Adam adds to that as well. Like that's not going to make it any easier. There's that's tough. That's really, really tough to have that kind of added pressure onto it. She's got a great fan base of her own as well. Like, I don't want to take anything away from that, but you're always going to have that comparison, which isn't fair. But it's just adds to it. But maybe that makes her even more competitive. I don't know, because she does well at the LZ events, and obviously, she won her license of her own volition in competition. So, which speaking to her about it, I think that was a big point. So, but yeah, I'm really, really interested to see the cars there. I know they've spent a lot of time developing it. Team infrastructure's there, so it'll be interesting. I think that's the best way to put it. Cool. Moving into one of the rookies. We've have number of rookies. I don't think we've delineated all of them. I think I forgot to put that on Colette. But,
is that what the big R means? Because I think I just caught on to your notes here.
Yeah.
I was like, why
I
did
realized
these guys...
Yeah, sorry. For anybody wondering, we have like a shared Google Doc that I put together on this, and I was putting a big R next to their names for rookie. But I realized I didn't put it on all of them because I knew that they were a rookie, and then forgot that Matt was sharing these notes. So anyways, for sure rookie, Colin Zielinski, yeah, I don't have a ton on Colin, but I do have that they won the East 10 Pro Am Championship, which, I mean, there's no real easy way to win a pro spec license at this point in time. Oh, I'm gonna hang on. Sorry, I apologize. I must not have finished the notes because I just pulled up his profile. I actually know a fair bit about Colin.
All right, let's hear it. It's more than I got.
No. Yeah, so he's been around for a bit. I know he's been pushing and like, it sounds weird. There's certain drivers who will like drive pro like a pro-am competition and then just happen to get their license and they're like, oh, cool, like I did well in it. Like I'm gonna, I guess I'll give this a shot. And then there's drivers who are like, I'm gonna drive as many pro-am competitions as I can to try and get my license. Colin is a drive as much as I can at the highest level as I can all the time to get it. I remember having conversations with him about it. So family's super cool. They own like a crazy graphic shop. He's always got ridiculous and awesome liveries. So I expect, big things on that side of things. We haven't talked a lot about liveries. A lot of drivers haven't revealed theirs yet, but I do expect a pretty big one. And I'm fairly certain it was him that gave my son a tire at Grid Life, which I think may still be in his room now. So if you're wondering what people do with used tires, yeah.
We always ask, like, how many tire swings are out there in America because of Formula Drift or just plant potters?
A lot of it's coffee tables. I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, oh yeah, we got two and then we like bolted them together and put a glass top on it.
Fully guilty of that, but not the glass part. Like 20 years ago, we had like tires because I was, right out of school and that's all you can afford is a tire coffee table.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially if they're free, right?
Yep.
So, but yeah, Colin experienced even at a young age, he's only 23, a lot of seat time. So it's always hard to say like or make predictions as to how somebody's going to do, but I will say I know I've seen him drive a lot at things like Grid Life. So I do expect him to do decent. We'll go with decent.
It sounds like he was taking the Jeff Jones approach when he like did every single pro-am that he could find.
But why not, right?
Yeah.
If you can afford to, if you have the backing, the infrastructure to do it, I say why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Drivers, Corey Talaska. He's been around for a hot minute, I feel like.
Yeah, Wisconsin homeboy. I always enjoy talking to him and his team and his dad in the pits. So it's always a good time, especially if you look at the floor mat of his street vehicle, Jacob. It's a little inappropriate, but just go check it out once. It's
okay.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I will make a point to do that when I don't know if you'll take that street vehicle to Atlanta, but
it was in Jersey when I saw it. So,
okay.
But yeah, he's
a little Easter egg for everybody.
Yeah. He's kind of one of those guys that flips a switch when the lights extinguish on the line, and he's so friendly outside of the car when the run's done, and then I feel like he charges hard in the car when we're driving. So I always like to root for him, and that's why I could never be a judge because I'm always either going after the underdogs or the homies. And so in the future, if anyone's reading this and I become a judge somehow, and which should never happen, now you know why there's a bias.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like the Tony Angelo effect of like judging your friends harder though, where you're like, you should be doing better. Like I'm not giving you need to earn this more.
Yep. So going back to that whole I'm disappointed, you should have done better kind of thing. So yeah, maybe
I'm disappointed.
Who knows? I'm not angry.
What I thought was kind of cool is as reading through some info is that he spent 15 years driving. Like I think it was like a mix of legend cars and go-karts. Like dude's like 29, so he's at an early age kicked into it, which is crazy. It's always interesting when you hear about other motorsports backgrounds before people get into drifting, because like some people like no motorsports whatsoever. I just wanted to get into drifting, and I feel like it's very attainable, and you can do that. And then you hear other people, you're like, I was missing something. Like the motorsport I was in was not exciting enough. So now I want to do this. But yeah, Corey, I mean, I like Corey. He's definitely super, he's quiet though.
Yeah,
like anytime I've gone up to talk to him, he's very, I have to like kind of like poke and prod to get him to talk about himself. But yeah, he's been around he's been around for a minute, and I'm excited to see him get into like top 5. I think he's a driver that definitely can do it.
Absolutely.
Next up, okay, I'll let you go with the pronunciation here because I've heard 2.
It's Cotty.
It is Cotty. Okay.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain. Now you got me second guessing because I'm like looked at that. I was like, I know how to pronounce this. Now I'm not so sure. But
and now I'm being asked. And I'm not sure.
I know it's Dempster. We can get that part. So we should forget about the first name. Got Mr. Dempster in the another fuel lab driver, C6 Corvette. I think he had some issues last year, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 34 is what he placed last year. Definitely got some potential there. So I always like seeing, I'm not a big Corvette guy, but one of my good friends is, he has a C6. And even when those things were stock, and he had it stock, and I went in a ride along with him, I was like, yeah, this thing's pretty good.
Yeah, you like so understand right away.
I like, maybe it's because it's American, and I'm, a big dumb American that likes seeing V8s, even though most cars have V8s in the drift world, it seems. But this thing's a purebred, and so it's cool seeing another Corvette out there, something different besides all the BMWs and S chassis. But yeah, I think he's got something in him to show up and see what you got there.
Yeah, I vaguely remember him losing an engine.
Did he find it?
Man, yeah, I think so. It was just in bits and pieces all over the ground.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it might have been in Atlanta.
I can't remember. It was either him. Yeah, it might be New Jersey. New Jersey's where I'm aiming for. Like I remember, I think he got towed off. But anyways, so don't need to open old wounds. Nobody likes to be reminded when they've lost.
Speaking of Corvettes, that same friend has gone through a couple few.
Yeah. All right. So I did text to confirm this next one because I wasn't sure. But Dmitry Brutsky again will be running in ProSpec, which I mean,
I think that's the only driver doing double duty, right? Because
I
Rudy's
believe
no longer.
I text Tommy Lemaire as well because he was originally on the website. So yeah, I was like, okay, are you doing it or not?
Clerical error.
It might be. There's a few in here. So I want to disclaimer here.
Here we go.
If there's somebody who ends up running ProSpec that is not in this podcast, I'm really sorry. Shame. I was going off the publicly available information. So if somebody messed up, it wasn't me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Way to pass the buck, Jacob. I got $1 here. We can.
All I got is quarters.
You got toonies in there still?
You know what? I was cleaning up my truck. I have a loonie right here, actually.
No kidding.
Not that you can see it right now because you don't have your glasses on, but that is a Canadian loonie.
All right. I still have some yen coins from Japan.
Oh, hang on. I think I unplugged my headphones on you. I think you were making fun of me and I couldn't even hear it.
That's okay. The world did.
There we go. Okay, perfect. I will never know what you said.
No, it was more coin talk from another country. Just saying I didn't. Yeah, but anyway. So Dmitry Bursky, do you know if he's using another? Because last year he used a dedicated pro, a dedicated ProSpec car. Is that the same story?
I believe he's going to have a dedicated ProSpec car. That is my guess.
Which came in handy last year.
Yeah, and I mean, I would. You've got it. I don't see why you wouldn't. I think that just makes life easier, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe I'm crazy.
Jersey practice or pro. All I know is he lost a lot of oil and might have lost an engine, and then still had the other car in the other series to compete in. I think he still was able to do ProSpec even though he was down a car. So unlike on the other side, when Rudy was doing both series in one car, he wouldn't have that advantage. But now, so Dmitry Bruski, the only pro and ProSpec driver this year that we can confirm so far. So
yeah,
always a contender.
At this moment.
yeah, he's won Prospec twice, 2 back-to-back years before he went to pro recently. So see what we got.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say the most winningest Prospec driver, just because he just keeps coming back. He just likes it.
Statement.
All
right. Or you got Douglas again here. It's so we're not talking about his dad.
Publicly available information.
I bet this will be the same clip from last year because his name is DJ.
What does DJ stand for though? Probably Douglas James.
Probably Douglas Jr. I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm gonna like. I mean, he registered himself as Douglas.
All I know
Stubstad.
is I'm fairly certain we're friends on Facebook, and I'm like, I know who Douglas Substad is because I think I'm friends with his dad too. Because when I looked up his, let's see here. Yep, DJ Stubstad friend. Yeah.
I will say I'm slightly concerned that his team name is Stubstad Army. Like, this is just feeling culty right off the bat. He's got his own little group of mullets. Yeah. I don't know, man. They could multiply. I mean, see, if I was him, if I was running his program, I would in my pits just have a battery powered, clippers and just give out free mullets all weekend.
Oh, like in what movie was that in? Yeah. Yeah, right. Free mullet.
I can't remember a movie, but I think like Pit Viper did like a promotion like that at an event or something. Okay. But either way, I mean, it'll get people to the pits, and then I'll think of all the mullets in the stands, and then they can fight the cone people that Andy Haitley has.
I'm gonna have to visit it because I haven't got a haircut, Jacob, since before Utah last year.
I was gonna say you're rocking. Mine's getting quite long under here as well. I mean, I can't take it off for legal reasons, but I also need a haircut. Yeah, there's no hair under here.
I seen you on Wednesday in Long Beach without it.
I was off the clock, man. I was off the clock.
Are you really ever off the clock?
No, I'm not. I think FD basically just owns my life now at this point. But I do. I think you just grow it out again. There's photos and videos of you with long hair, so why not just bring it back?
Yeah. It's been over a decade, which I was going to get at today on this episode was when is the FD band going to get together? Because I got the drums on lock, and I don't know anyone else. Did you play any instruments? Or did you just do vocals?
I just did vocals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried playing drums, but I sucked.
All right, I got it covered.
Okay. Adam's been putting a lot of time in on the guitar.
Oh, so sweet. So speaking of Florida, because Chris Jackson from Jeff Jones's crew said that there's like this karaoke bar not too far from Orlando that is like they have a full band, and then you do karaoke with the band as like the machine instead of like, just watching a screen and someone's singing by themselves. So maybe that'll be like our trial run. I'll just kick their drummer
I think
off.
That's good.
And
that's a good soft launch. I like that. The infrastructure is there. It's close to home. I'd feel safer. I'm down for that Saturday night. And then we'll just make sure to book your flight late Sunday. We'll do like a barbecue lunch at my place after, and then we're good to go.
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
Speaking of barbecue, I don't know. I've never seen Dustin Miles on fire, but that's who's next on what I got in front of me. Yeah. Okay.
I've never seen him on fire. That's good. I'm glad.
At least not like NBA jams or his car's never been on fire. He's never been on fire. Kind of a
find some wood to knock on, man.
Some seasoned Pro 2 Prospec driver, Mr. Dustin Miles, got here entering his 8th season, which is almost as long as I've been in FD, at least working with them.
Yeah.
I think it's been the same
a little
car?
bit longer than I've been around.
It's always been a hatch, right?
Yeah, no, that was kind of his thing. So
it's always been JZ, as you guys say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're saying that constantly. I'm trying to think if he's ever. I feel like at some point he would have, but it says the S13 hatchback has been transformed in those years to a tactical machine. That's his own words, for the record.
I'm zooming in too far to see. Okay.
Yeah, Dart, 2JZ. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, no, it just looks like fresh livery.
Dart, so he's running a Dart block. Is that what that means?
Yeah, that's what it says. Hard is cool. A Dart machinery, Iron Eagle, 2JZ, fully built top to bottom, precision 6466.
I can't remember when Dart came out with that block. I want to say that's fairly recent.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I'm not in that world, but Dart's been in the business forever as castings.
Almost as long as Dustin Miles has. Probably longer. I mean, results-wise, good improvement from 2022 to 23, going from 30th to 12th, and then dropping back a little bit to 17th. But I always wonder when somebody's been in the sport for that long, or like in a series that long, like, are you still as hungry as you were? Or is it, hey, I know I can do this. I can put the program together. I enjoy doing it. This is how I spend my vacation. If we do well, that's awesome. But I don't know. Is he as hungry?
I'm
going to ask him. Do it. No, please.
Bring a Snickers. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what I need you to do right now. Just for if you're watching this on YouTube, this is a very specific thing to YouTube. I need you to go to the share function. And there's going to be a little button at the bottom that says mark at this timestamp or share at this timestamp. So you're going to share at that timestamp, okay? You ready? Hi. Your friend has shared this with you because they would like some FD merch, but don't worry. I'm going to save you some money. You may know me. You may not know me. It doesn't matter. The point is, if somebody is sharing this with you, they want you to buy them FD merch. It's probably a holiday or their birthday, or they got a raise, or they were able to make, most of the drift season without completely demoing their car. I don't know what it is, but the point is they want you to buy them FD merch, and I want you to use podcast 25 at checkout, and you get to save 20%. You can use that 20% to get them a cool card. You could use it to buy yourself some matching merch. How cute would that be? So right now, go to formuladrift.com, check out the merch, make sure to use podcast 25 at checkout. Do it. Another driver I think we could ask a similar question of. Next driver is Farouk Kugwai, if I get that down correctly. He went up to pro for a little bit, came back down to pro spec, seems to be enjoying it a lot more in pro spec, a lot less stressed out about it.
Yeah. And he's another one of those guys who, man, I can't recall many times where he's not smiling, even if like a result didn't go his way or his car broke.
Right.
Just a character for sure. Always glad to see him.
Yeah. Started driving in 2002, which is before some of our drivers were even born, which is wild. Well before
I was out of high school. Just 1 year.
Yeah. I was trying to, we're not quite at the point. I was going to say in 2014, he earned his Pro 2 license. I was trying to see if like Cameron Sorenson said what year he would have been born, but we're not quite there yet. So,
nope, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been 2010. So, oh, wait, no, 2012. 2012, yeah. Depending on when his actual birthday is. So, we're getting close though, where, Farouk could have been a licensed driver before that person was born.
It's always,
many,
you were talking about, when we're supposed to put drivers to sleep and say age out with Jared.
Put them to pasture. I have a funny story about that, but I'll let you finish.
But I always with drifting, you need some good reaction skills. And, obviously we're not piloting F1 cars where, I don't know if you've ever seen those videos where they compare the reaction times of a professional football player versus an F1 driver, like dropping the balls, catching them, and like the difference is crazy. But I feel like drifting doesn't need quite. Yeah, you need some good reaction time. But who's going to be the oldest drift driver? It's going to be like who's going to retain that title? I mean, obviously there are always someone who is the oldest in the group, but so far I think the oldest is like in their upper 40s or something. Obviously, Vaughn's kind of up there. I mean, Rudy might be one of the guys that are kind of in his mid 40s. But I'm just interested to see like how late, how long are these guys that hold on? And I don't know if you notice this in a lot of the grassroots stuff, but you see these like guys that really lean into, as you like to say, they're like a grandpa drifter, and they're out there having a blast, and probably wish that they had this when they were our age. But
yeah,
it's to be told.
I've met at least one person in their 60s drifting, a bunch of people in their 50s, but yeah, I think at the high level, like high end competition level, like, you know, the elite levels, the reaction time plays a massive part in it. And I think just like instinct, and I think some of those instincts will stay, but the reaction time won't be able to keep up with those instincts. Like they're still there. I really do think we're going to see a lot more of them moving into spotters or like really consultants. I think what we've seen with what Denofa's been doing really just opened the door to, you know, drifting consultants. And it's been around for a while. I've talked to a lot of drivers who are like, you know, even let's say mildly successful pro drivers who have been paid to go set up cars and tweak things. Cause like we forget that, you know, there are people out there with good chunks of money who are just willing to pay someone to like, just come out and set up the car, go take it for like a day, drive it, make all the tweaks. And then I want to put my kid in it. And I want to just know that the car is fine. And they'll pay somebody to do that. And I've heard that a few times, but I do think as the sport gets bigger and bigger, we're going to get drifting consultants more. Oh, for sure.
I've even seen a little taste of that. There's, you know, as little as Mustang drifters are out there, there's a lot of guys that, I mean, it's not like I'm out there winning anything. I was always a qualifier, never a contender. But I've, you know, been setting up a lot of Mustang drift cars lately, and I was like, what's going on here? Which is super cool. Because they're like, oh yeah, we, you know, heard of you and you seem like the guy to do that. So I'm like, all right. I still feel like I'm not at anywhere near of a level as like a Chelsea Denofa to set up cars, because I'm pretty good with geometry and suspension stuff, but I've never gotten a chance to like sit down and talk to him about like really specific stuff, because I don't think he exposes all that we get to see on his channel and stuff, because he's probably
he's got to hold some back.
He's got a whole encyclopedia.
Well, I think it's one of those. Don't take this the wrong way, but like the people that are calling you and the people who are calling Chelsea Denofa are two different people.
Absolutely, yeah. Right? I was going to kind of like allude to that too. I'm like, I know where I know where my lane is.
Yeah, it's like restaurants, right? Like, you know, if you need, you know, there's restaurants for every price point kind of thing, but you know what you're getting with it. So you're our McDonald's, Matt.
Yes, I am. Yeah, Mick happy about that. That's for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So speaking of McMuffins.
I thought you were going to carry that one.
I got no, dude. I can never. My punchlines are not. It's too late. It's already Sunday in Florida. It's an hour away from Sunday here in Arizona. So let's just keep this train rolling.
Okay, somebody who is really good with suspension setups, and we'll see if that applies to drifting, which is going to be Faris Katumi. Man, just interested, just very interested to see. I had the show with him. It was really good. Everything leads me to believe he's going to be successful, but I've watched a bunch of footage of him driving. It's all there, but it's just such a different game when you are doing this at a prospect level. You know, that's really all it comes down to.
I think the best example I've seen through the years of where, you know, a grip racer has come to FD was Robert Thorne.
Yeah, agreed.
Won his first year and then went to pro. It was like, wow, that guy.
And did well in pro. Like, yeah, it took a little bit. It wasn't, but he wasn't getting blown out of the water.
Yeah, he didn't get Rookie of the Year his first year, did he?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
Obviously, he did in his first prospect year, but because he won the whole damn thing. But yeah, that was a good example of like how, well someone can do that, has car control in that world and was able to translate it into, a different state of friction of the car doing its thing. So, yeah, another Corvette, which I'm always excited to see. So, see if we can pull through.
You love your vets, man. I get it.
The muscle.
I love the muscle. I was looking up to see if Robert Thorne did end up getting Rookie of the Year that year, but I don't think so. Not seeing it, but anyways. All right. So moving on to another very happy fellow, Human Rahimi. I'm solely convinced he is just having a blast, and that's really what it comes down to. And I'm okay with that. I think everybody else should be okay with that. And this isn't anything against Human's driving, because Human is a very, very capable driver. But I think he's so focused on having fun and a good time that that's the focus. Like,
yeah,
that's
he's
it.
kind of. I kind of compared him to Austin Mata, but Mata was a little more successful, obviously. But he was kind of one of those checkers or wreckers kind of drivers where if he pushed himself, it was to the extreme. But when he was on one, he was doing really well. But I think you're onto something as well, where he's just having too much fun, and I've never seen him angry in the car. It's always smiles, even if he wrecked or went to the kitty litter or whatever happens. He's happy to be out there.
Yeah, agreed. If you get a chance, go check out his profile on the FD website of what he wrote about himself. It is incredible. I'm not going to read it. I don't want to spoil it. I want everyone else just to go and read it because it's really good.
I'll have to go see.
Another driver, what comes after sophomore? Are you a junior then? Is that how that works?
Yeah, in America.
Yeah, okay,
yep.
Okay, got it. Jack Davis, once again, had him on the show previously. If you want a full rundown on him, very humble, really good breakdown of how he affords everything too. If you're interested in understanding like the finances of it, it was really good.
A lot of people are like, that's even we wonder. We're like, what is this guy doing when he's not?
One of my favorite games is How Do You Afford to Be Here? Like, I love that. I love that game.
It seems like a one-player game.
Yeah, you could do two-player. You just got to wager some money, and then you actually have to ask the person. That's the scary part. Yeah.
The only other game I compare that to that's a one-player game is guessing what headlights are on this RV that actually belong to the
man.
You on board with that?
Oh yeah, no, love that game. I saw a set of third gen Rams,
yes,
but there
that's
were
a very
6 of
popular
them,
one.
and there were 6, and they were horizontal. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. It's either Cat Eye Chevy Silverados, or is that Kooky or whatever, which one? And like GM Pontiac Grand Prix headlights on a flat bus. Like, it's hilarious. I've seen some G stuff.
But
interesting. That's my favorite game to play alone. It's the no one else knows this stupid thing, and my wife is like, "You need to. What are you doing?" But I digress again. Jack Davis, really good in 23. Kind of got thrown off the course there a little bit last year, and I feel like he's a contender. I can't remember if he had any mechanical issues again, but someone to look out for.
Yeah, agreed. Experienced, knows what he needs to do, just has to put it together. Next up, Jace Habich.
Nope. It's like the Bic lighter. Habik. Yeah.
Habik.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, bit of a rough rookie year. We talked about this earlier on, that like your rookie year in ProSpec, it's going to be an eye opener. Looking into just some of the background stuff, super cool to see his go-kart racing since he was 5, which is awesome. Obviously coming out of the Northwest, and he actually went up to Canada to run the Spec D Pro Drift Championship to get his license, which is super cool. I have some friends that work up on that series, so shouts out to them.
Nice.
And Yeah, I mean, always any Canadian connection I got to dive into. As soon as someone says cheese curd or Wisconsin, Matt'll be running to that conversation. But
no, that's almost racist. But because I was actually born in Arizona, thank you very much. But I was transported.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was transported to Wisconsin. Not against my will or anything, because I was only 2. So,
Against my will.
What was I going to say? Havoc. I kind of remember his car was blue, I believe. No, was he? I'm thinking of someone else. Sorry, my bad. Let's just roll on here. So, Havoc.
You're good. You're good. I think one of the things that came up is he signed with Nonstop Tuning for the year, which is super cool. So.
Those guys just can't, just never-ending tuning. I always get a kick out of that name. Like, do you guys ever take a break? I think that's just our inner Jared coming out. It's like making fun of those kind of idioms.
The low-hanging fruit jokes, yes.
That's what it is. Yep, the fruit of loom. Anyway. Man, we are...
Jerry Johnson. This is the ultimate race car name right here. He needs to do well. He has a race car driver name.
He does. And there's no R in the name either. But when I saw his profile,
the R, he's a rookie.
I was like, that is a NASCAR driver, and it's a NASCAR powered. You know which is it? Toyota, GM, Dodge isn't it anymore? Ford?
Didn't say. It just had a
high revving V8. And we're ready to kick the tires and light the fires.
Very epic looking mustache. His entire biography, for the record, these biographies are submitted by the driver. They write their own biography. Let me just read this off for you verbatim because it's necessary. Biography. He runs the buzz cut and mustache. He loves America, cats, and going fast. That's what it says. I don't know. But damn, that's a good mustache. I'm
jealous because
he needs to do well. Yeah. Neither you and I just can't. We're all neckbeard.
Yeah.
We're both neckbeard people.
Yeah, mine comes in all white trashy and like Joe Dirt. If I let it go, or very Amish like, it's annoying. But getting back to mustaches, see the boys. This is why I don't participate because I'm lacking in that department. What was the last round? Every year in Irwindale, track staff would grow epic mustaches for the last round, and everyone would be like, "What the heck kind of perversion is this?" And I'd be like, "I can't," because the one year I did, they're like, "Where is it?" God damn it! I'm going home.
Just start now.
No, it'll end up looking like it's just not good. It's just It's just terrible, and it's like blonde too, so it doesn't help matters. So,
all right. Moving into next driver, another rookie. That's what the R is for next to his name. Joshua Stewart. I believe he was driving Super Drift.
And I was just kind of watching that.
His first battle on Saturday against Jeff Jones actually looked really good, like solid chase. Where I was like, oh shit, because like admittedly. It's really difficult for the ProSpec drivers to go in and run Super Drift. It's Long Beach. Yeah, it's not an easy track.
It's at night.
It's at night. You really need the power there to like get it to extend out to the walls. It's just not easy. But he looked really good. Looked really, really good. Another Corvette. We're seeing a lot more of them come in now, as we've already alluded to. The C chassis. And he noted that his daughter's a spotter, which is kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
I like hearing
Talk
that
about
stuff.
generational things. So that's cool.
Yeah. And then what was the other part that was in here? Lieutenant Commander of the United States Navy after serving stateside and overseas for the past 15 years. So I've learned this being in America a lot longer. I now need to say thank you for your service, which I think there's a few other people on this list that have served, but kind of cool. His driving early on looked really good, and I mean, if he can drive like that, he's going to do quite well.
Yeah, let's get after it.
Yeah, another rookie. Got more rookies. There's so many rookies. Justin Ruth. So out of the Midwest, came out of motocross originally, had a ride along in 2020, and that's what got him into it. So like crazy quick turnaround. 2020 has a ride along, 2025 competing in ProSpec. So that's pretty cool. And he is sponsored by, and he's sponsored by an auctioneer service. So I hope all of his interviews are performed as an auctioneer.
Which I won't even dare to attempt.
I set you up for it.
Nope. Next. Speaking of NASCAR names, we got Mr. Casey Cole in the M-Spec.
Yeah.
I think it's a 14.9. I don't think that one's a 15 like Stukey's, but I've always equated him because he's got his hands and brain all over those cars. Like, he knows every single nut and bolt and electronics, everything on there. Super smart dude. Does the tuning, I think, as well. So, super cool things with carbon and Kevlar. Which is, if you ever get a chance to lift one of their bumpers, it is like, or anything carbon Kevlar, which I've never like held a singular part in my hand before until last week. I was like, that is stupid light. Like, no wonder why people get after that.
Carry it with a pinky kind of thing.
Yep.
I used to say that Casey's like one of the next great builders, and I need to correct that and just be like, he is one of the greatest builders we have right now. Like, he's one of the best minds when it comes to like building drift cars that we have. Like, just it's nuts. And just speaking to him for like 10 minutes, you just immediately are like overwhelmed with how much shit he knows. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, this was fun.
Because it turns into like,
now
and that's another thing. He if he has one flaw, it's like he doesn't know how to turn that spigot off of his information and talking to you. I was like, oh man, I get it.
Right.
I'm just, it's just too much. But sometimes I think.
Go ahead.
Because you can see his performance here, it's kind of trailed off a little bit after his freshman year, which he did really well. I just wonder if knowing so much about the cars and being involved in Stukey's program as well, and maybe he's got too many fires burning to handle and focus on driving, because we all know, we've all covered this, that when you can just focus on putting your butt in that seat and driving, usually people do better when they're not worrying about, did I tighten this bolt? Did I, pin this right or whatever? Is this alignment perfect? Did I, so on and so forth, versus just buttoning down and turning the wheel. So I love to see Casey do well. I just wonder if that's a factor, if he's just got too many fires burning that he can't focus as much as he may want to.
I think it is. I really do. And I'm hoping he can turn that off to drive, because when he's driving well, he's driving incredibly well. Yeah. And just a lot on the go. He's just got to find a way to clear his head. And I know he even said, was it last year or the year before, where he got into that wreck, first running practice in Atlanta.
Funny story about that.
He said that he barely had time to work on the car. Not really, but yeah. Wait,
well, I mean,
just what funny story do you know? Because
it had nothing to do with the cars. It's that what team hit him? Was it Root, or I don't even know if they're in this year. Either way, they kept trying to giving him gifts that they don't dabble in, and then they finally nailed it after like the third round of ProSpec, and they're like, there we go, because they felt so bad that they wrecked him, because it was a simple like brake fitting. A line just let loose, and that's why when that chase car hit him, it was because the brake pedal probably just went to the floor because they lost all the pressure, and that team did feel terrible, and I feel so bad for not remembering, but they definitely buried the hatchet and went beyond. Like, it was the coolest sportsmanship I got to see. Yeah. But yeah, it was truly unfortunate, because he's ran a bunch of bad luck, because then he was struggling in that keyhole because it messed up his whole car. But that was the bright side of that, was the camaraderie that came out of it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I didn't hear about the reconciliation at the end. So when you're like, oh, funny story about that, I was like, well, not really. But
nope, that was the only cool part.
Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that part. I didn't know that part, so I learned something today. All right, moving into next driver, Kelsey Rawlings. I don't want to dwell on this a lot, but I just want to bring it to people's attention. Unfortunately, Kelsey's boyfriend was in a pretty serious motorcycle accident recently. There is a GoFundMe that is up for right now. So if you have the ability and you feel the urge to, that's something that you could help and support. I'm not going to get into all the details of it. I'm just going to leave it at that. So if you want more information, go check out her stuff. And if you can, feel free to help somebody out. But outside of that, Kelsey's been around for a while. She's kind of just had mixed results. A lot of it came down to weird mechanical stuff. I remember her fighting power steering forever.
Oh my goodness,
just
yes.
Weird stuff. And it would be fine all the way through practice. She'd go and qualify and just lose it. It was just the weirdest stuff. And then I believe they did get it sorted last year. And things were going decent. And then I think she was one of the people who also wrecked in St. Louis. Or was that the year before?
I think it was, because it was like the fourth lap last year because everyone was bitching about these double walls in St. Louis. And then she goes and puts it on top of there. I think it stayed up there too.
Did it? Okay.
I think the car just decided to stay elevated for a little bit, even though we weren't in Utah yet. But yeah, she needs some moments and some stars to line up, and I think she'll be successful. She's had a lot of support from her dad, who is a big Ford guy, so we always get along, and because it's one of the few Ford powered swap vehicles in the field, and I don't think it was last year because they had a different engine package, and there was a simple failure in there that they had to put a backup motor in. It's just a string of events that just kind of just sucked for her.
Just tough mechanical. Yeah. Yeah. When she gets to drive, when all that is happening is the driving, she's right up there with the best of them. It's just been those mechanicals that have been the issue. So, but get those sorted, and she's right there. Next driver, did record with this driver as well. So once this episode comes out, their podcast will be out as well. Louis Lanz, originally from Venezuela. Really, really good episode. It was just interesting. We got into a lot of really cool topics with that. Another driver that did a bunch of racing stuff. Just interesting guy, really cool perspective. Another person who's trying to elevate the drifting community a lot, which is always something, I like to hear about. And then, looks like his title sponsor this year is Zek's Lifestyle, which is not something I could find a lot of info on, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, another Corvette, another C chassis.
All of them.
I've lost count. I think they're almost become the new BMW. It seems like the more modern.
I would say they're more like the new S chassis because I don't know
what,
because S chassis are just dying out.
Well,
right? There's still more BMWs.
The only reason I say S chassis because I'm being super literal is because the Mustang literally has S in its chassis code.
Oh,
so I'm just being silly.
Okay,
but Corvettes though are you have to get it once you get a certain level and upgrading things like it. I think Matt Field has refined that process of having them serviceable because there's when they're stock, you got the torque tube and all that stuff that if you don't, it's easy to drop. You have to drop a lot of things to do one thing like a rear end or whatever because it's transaxle. But that's a whole nother episode, Jacob. If we want to get into serviceable items and making things
Matt
modular.
tells me why Corvette sucks for 2 hours straight.
I never said that. I never said they sucked. I'm just saying here's the hurdle you might want to consider before drifting one seriously. But yeah. So speaking of S chassis, we'll get into. Hopefully, we'll see this car this year because Matthew Bystrack had to bring his S13 hatch out as his backup because his Mustang, he was having issues. His motor was pushing water on the dyno in the first trial run, and we never got to see him perform in that car. So he's had a all the times to get that thing ready. So hopefully we can see him perform in that. And he's kind of been around for a little bit. He's the 5th season in FD. Another guy I almost have to look up to. Another thank you for your service. I believe he was in the Army. But he's definitely military. Because I think I've seen him wear his like combat boots around the pits. And when he's been given like fans of track walk and stuff. I remember.
Oh, okay.
See him. Yeah.
He's a big dude. He could be a Marine. Like I don't know. He's
yep. I think he is a Marine.
He's a lot of human being.
I'm sorry, other Matt.
Sorry, other Matt.
So I forget who his like good friend was. He was showing me old pictures of Matt before like the military and stuff. And I was like, he was like me. I was a string bean like before he got in there, and then he just exploded. But Mustang things, prospec, and nicknames. So
you're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
Speaking of nicknames, Matt was not aware, but Shelly Hansen. I mean, they've got her full name on the website. What I do love though is that her maiden name is Louder, which if you've ever chatted with Shelly, she could be a loud one, not in a bad way. Just she is very excitable, full of energy. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. It's a better way than I did. She's just a lot of fun. Like just good people to be around. Like you can't help but smile when you're around. And yeah, I'm excited for her merch. I still think that some of the most creative merch that you see in the FD paddock is from the Hansen team. So now that she gets to do her own for herself and push that, I think that could be quite interesting.
Because we're not going to ruin anything because have you seen it and they haven't dropped it yet? But I remember watching the episode. You're saying like the crew shirts and how you're like, yeah, everyone kind of has the same. It's the sponsors, the name in the back, and so you're kind of alluded to the fact that they got something up their sleeve to kind of break the norm, if you will.
I haven't seen it yet. Wait, no, I would have seen it. Did I not see it in Long Beach? If I have seen it, I didn't. Yeah. If I did see it, I haven't like absorbed it, if you will. Like one of those like maybe I saw it in passing and just didn't realize it kind of thing.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
anything out of the normal. Like talking like I just envision like maybe like these loud Hawaiian shirts that are like the crew.
That's more of like a Derek Madison thing for the Hawaiians. Like I could see them with like neon like fishnets or something would be the crew shirts.
Okay.
Just that's that's what I could see. But like sewn into the shirt kind of thing.
Oops.
I'm not saying it's going to be safe, but it'll definitely be loud.
Yeah, it's loud. Yeah, that's a good thing. So speaking of the old switcheroo, we got Mike Power coming back to ProSpec in his S15. And a couple of cool things about that. Because I actually got to talk to him when we did the Queen Mary escort thing. Ran into him there. And he seemed in good spirits. He's ready to come out and, still be able to drive in the series. And even though his car, we don't have to get too far in the weeds because his car has like a custom steering column and all that stuff. And in ProSpec, where you have to have like stock pedals, stock steering column and all that. So he's actually going to be taking points dings every round, he told me, because he's keeping his car kind of pro ready because it probably wouldn't have been feasible, whether it's financial or just, it just doesn't make sense to get those things in line. So he's just going to take the point hit. So I'm like, well, then you just got to just win everything. It's so simple. So that's one little facet I took away from Mike. So yeah, I think that's kind of a two things to that. There's pressure because you were a pro driver. And by the way, there's no such thing as Pro 1. Just putting it out there. Can we make that a thing? Like there's It hasn't
Stop
been.
saying
It's
Pro
always,
One.
It's always Pro. It's like Lotus in oh man, what's that Brad Pitt
Lost
movie?
me.
The World War II, Inglourious Bastards. He's like, it's a bingo. You just say bingo. It's just Pro, okay? You just say Pro. So there's pressure. You know, ex-pro driver, not ex-pro driver, but he was in the pro, you know, and he held his own there, no doubt. So there's, you know, pressure to do well. And so if you don't, then you're like, oh. But so glad that he can still get his feet wet. Excited to say power in the booth. I think that's one thing I told him. I was like, I can't wait to say your name. Let's do some more tangents while we're at it. There was this guy, his last name was Doom when it was still Pro 2.
Right.
And he was the last KA turbo nitrous powered car in the series, I think.
I remember that.
And I remember saying, all right, sending cars. I'm like, sending Doom. And that was one of the highlights. But now I get to say power announcing. So let's get after it, Mike. See what you got, even with the deficits.
Yeah. He's somebody I've gotten to know quite well over the years, and the sentiment that I got from him was he's just like, cool. I got to prove that I can be back there. It'll, you know, take me, you know, I don't want to make it sound like he was being cocky or arrogant or anything like that, because that wasn't it. But he looks at this like, okay, cool. This is the thing I got to do now, and I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to go back up to pro, and we move on. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's, you know, just seems like it was an obstacle, and he's going to get over it and move on. So,
yeah, I mean, I got that same vibe.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I was probably more arrogant than he was.
I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not going to. Next driver.
Come on.
No, I can't. Nate, you know what? Nate gets picked on a little bit too much. And I know we're over an hour, so Andy's not going to listen to this part of the episode.
That's true.
But
that's his favorite driver.
It's his favorite driver. I do like Nate Chen. I have no issues with Nate Chen. I've made jokes about, like, I can't remember what episode I made it on where I was, and he made a joke about it, which was great. But I said, I'm like, the Nate Chen I want to see is the Nate Chen after like 6 drinks. And then he made a video of himself going out and drinking, and it was him after 6 drinks, and he called me out on it. It was so funny. Where I'm
you
like,
guys
okay,
FaceTime
cool. Like,
no.
He like made an Instagram video where he's like, I think it was like New Orleans or something. He's like, I'm in New Orleans, and Jacob Getton said that he wanted to see me after 6 drinks, so follow me along after 6 drinks. And like, he goes to these different bars and tries these different cocktails, and then he's like, this is me after 6 drinks. Anyways, it was funny, which just like leads me to believe. Yeah, thanks. But it proves my point though, that like Nate is a genuinely funny person, and he just takes drifting very seriously.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He definitely does.
Yeah, because like I've had great conversations with him where it's not serious, and he's, you know, silly, but he has a very serious job, and he takes drifting very seriously.
He quantifies things a lot.
Yeah, and he really wants to make this into a career, and he, you know, it's one of those dress for the job you want, not the job you have kind of situations where he is treating his program like he is already a pro, which some people that rubs the wrong way, but for me, I'm like, you know what? That's cool. Like that's a good idea, and that will ultimately help you get sponsors. And I think with that as well, like looking at standings, he's improved every year for the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and 22 was 11, 23 was 8, and 24 was 7th. So say what you want about Nate Chen, but he's driving
you're
quite
saying
well.
The proof is in the pudding, Jacob, huh?
proof is in the pudding. Yes.
I'll let you pronounce this next one since you did such a great job earlier.
That was my Nick Jimenez. I believe the J is silent, or it's an H sound. Sorry.
C.
Wouldn't be silent. C. Wow. Really diversified there, Matt.
Let's go. I got so many Chief Forest going. Hey, I kind of know Spanish.
Been in Arizona for so long. Pardon?
I forgot.
How I was going to say, how is your Spanish?
Más o menos.
That's better than mine. So Nick, 2012 Evergreen Drift Pro Champion, and then 2024 Pro Spec Rookie of the Year. So, which felt, when they announced it, I was like, oh shit, you're right. Like, I don't know if it was just, he was kind of quiet and just kind of crept through and just consistently good all season. We're like, when we were going through the point, I think it was the Prospect Banquet when I went, oh shit, Nick, like he is, yeah, you're right. He is the Rookie of the Year. Like,
it's kind of like,
I don't mean that in a bad way, but he was consistently good all year.
That's kind of one of those terms I always bring up when we're announcing. I was like, we have like these sleeper cells in Prospect that can kind of sneak up on you. And I think Nick Jimenez is one of those where you're like, oh, he's still back there and still fighting and can surprise you when he brings to the table. So
yeah, I mean, if you make Rookie of the Year, then that immediately already tells me that you've got a good fighting chance moving into your sophomore season. So we see that happen a lot. So yeah, excited to see. Next up, Ryan Kaufman. So he's been around for a lot longer than I originally understood when I started doing some digging in here. And this dude is driven like all over the world, which is crazy. And in a lot of weird places too. Like not weird, but like not traditional drifting places. Sure. Someone's like, oh, I used to drive in Japan, or like even, you could say like Taiwan or in Europe or something. The Dutch Isles, Aruba, Curacao, Jamaica. Like,
you don't even know where those are on the globe?
One of them for sure. I won't tell you which one. But yeah, these were all almost a decade ago. And then he took 7 or 8 years off. And then he got into what is now known as Taxi Garage, which if you're into crazy karts, that is like the company that upgrades and modifies crazy karts.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. And I was like, oh shit, this all kind of makes sense now. So the other part that's cool is he's running an older RX-7. He's running an FC. So like,
oh, okay. So that's kind of bringing it back.
Yeah. So
when's the last time we seen one of those there, Mr. FD Rulebook?
I'm not the FD Rulebook. Thank you.
I can't believe it took me this long to remember to make fun of you for that.
That is a great Instagram account and they do a phenomenal job, but I have nothing to do with it.
Well, then how come when I message them, your phone blows up? I kid.
That was completely coincidental. Anyways, FD Rulebook, you keep doing you. I appreciate it.
So I'm looking at Ryan's Instagram here. That his RX-7. I always like the FCs when they're done up, like when they're factory. I think Tony Angelo just got one because it was like his dream car.
Right.
And the Turbo 2, which I don't know, I can't remember if it had anything done aesthetically, but when they're done, they look so good.
Agreed. It looks like LS in that as well. Another Florida man. Yeah, right. I don't know enough about them, but I do know they require a good chunk to get them to kind of like competitive to today's level. So I didn't see any stipulations in the rule book for it because it's obviously been a minute since we've had an FC in competition, but that's the only part I have some like hesitation about is like, is that still a competitive chassis? That's it.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember when's the last. Yeah, I already asked you that question. But one of my Wisconsin homies, Brian Peter, who was an OG FD driver back in like the early days, he had an FC that was, I think, LS swap back then. And but back then, that's like, what would you think the equivalent of an FD car from 2006 is today? Is probably grassroots, like reliable car.
Yeah, it's a grassroots car.
Yeah.
It is really.
And not like, not saying that negatively, but that's just how much we've progressed.
Yeah. I asked Mike Kojima once, it was at Grid Life, and we were like in front of Dayo Shihara's championship car. And I was like, oh man, this like thing is so cool. And like Mike Kojima, and this was, 4 or 5 years ago, he said this to me. He's like, yeah, he goes, this thing probably wouldn't even do well in Pro 2. And I was like, holy shit. Like, but it was one of those moments where I'm like, man, it's understanding, like the cars are probably just as simple. Like there's a lot of technology available, but not a lot of it's in use other than a few vehicles. But like, and when I say technology, I really mean like more like electronic stuff, but it's how stout the components are now. Yeah. I think is the biggest thing, that like, we're not blowing axles all the time. We're not blowing diffs all the time. We're not like, things just aren't exploding like they did 10 years ago. Right. Like that was like the big thing. It was like, whose car could, Yeah,
no one's using a 350Z diff in their S chassis anymore. It's all quick changes and
right.
Sequentials this and billet that.
Yeah.
But
clutches.
Maybe because Vaughn was gonna like he resurrected his, I think it was the 2010 championship car or even an older one, and they were going to compare their RTR car of today to that to see,
holy cow,
what it's like. I don't know. I've been waiting for that because they've been like, throwing little breadcrumbs here and there on their stories and stuff, and so that's going to be where we're going to see it, like black and white, side by side, the BC Racing side by side.
Look at you, ready to go, man. You're ready for the season. Look at you.
I am not. Everyone is asking me like, "Are you ready for the season?" It's like, I don't have nearly as much prep for you, so I just have to show up really when it comes like the start stuff. But when it comes to announcing, as you like to do as well, is like you got to go on that paddock tour and do your homework even beforehand. But
that's what most of the info is learned. That paddock tour,
sure.
like, oh, dude, just yeah. Cool. Next driver. I'll let you pronounce it. Just get this out of the way.
Mr. Sam Magmumi. It's probably still wrong. Lebanese. One of our few. I think he's taken a page out of Rome's book, where they actually keep their drift car a purebred, if you will. So it's a BMW engine and a BMW chassis, and he's pretty proud of how high that thing revs. And another pleasant gentleman to interact with, and always hope he does well. I feel like he just gotta, I don't know, get some more experience, and I think he'll dial it in.
Yeah, he did pretty decent in hot pit. Like, it deserves to be there. It's just I think some of it's just a confidence thing. Like, a lot of the driving that I've seen out of him just didn't seem confident. And I think that's what it was, just hesitations. And it does go back to that. Like, when you're building your car, it's much harder to throw it into a wall.
And it's also, there was one incident, we were doing demos in SEMA Fest 23. And he had his car like gripped up, and everyone's like, just loosen him up. Like, and we're here to party. And just like I said last year, it's like these guys, no one wants to see you struggling around the track. Like, it's always easy to add grip and get more comfortable that way, instead of like adding too much to begin with. And then you got to like go backwards and you're wasting laps. And the laps don't come easy when we have, the double series weekends. So again, start loose. Start loose, and I think you'll be more comfortable, and then you can dial it back. Like, it's one thing I learned in grassroots when I was learning at US Air, where they have final bout and all that. Every time I went, it was raining, and I was like, come on, I just want some dry weather. But it also taught me, like, because it would rain in the morning, and then it would dry up, and I'd learn, I'm getting more grip, and now I can still do the course, but now faster. And still do it like with the same style. So kind of take that approach, if you will. But guess what? They're probably not going to listen to me anyway. I'm just the start guy. Hey. No, it's funny when I'm sure you see all the comments and they're like, why would they take advice from this guy? I don't care. But it's hey, do with it what you will.
Bro, I get a lot of that. So dude, trust me. I fully understand. One of the most validating things happened recently where I made a comment on a podcast where I kind of just talked about, like, sometimes it's better just to drive the car than it is to try and like make a bunch of adjustments and like work on the car to get your way out of it. Yeah, and there's arguments on both sides. Travis Reeder kind of like shot me down on it. It was like, hey, like I actually wish I would have done it more than what I did and all this stuff. And he had some really good points on that. Him and I chatted when I saw him in Long Beach. A couple of drivers back and forth. It was a really good discussion about the whole thing. But on the podium show, James and Freddie both kind of talked about just like leaving their car and just like leaving it the way it was and not overcomplicating it and just driving it. And I was like, it was one of those moments where I just kind of like sat there and just smiled and nodded. And I was like, see, every once in a while I am right about something. Yeah, exactly. Listen, when you talk on the internet as much as you and I both do, you're going to get shit wrong. You're going to say something dumb. You're going to take a shot in the dark and miss. It's going to happen. All of us do it. The difference between, myself, Matt, and Jared, and whoever else, and everybody else is that we're doing it and we're recorded, and you can go back and watch it over and over again. You can say something stupid and most people are going to forget about it. If we do it, it's here forever.
Forever,
which I'm reminded of constantly. All right, last driver, ending strong. Honestly, I find myself at their pits probably more than almost any prospect driver. And I don't know why. Really? It's not on purpose. It's just, they always pull me in. Like you walk by some pits and like you could walk by and no one will say anything to you. And some of them, they will almost physically go out and grab you and pull you in.
Yeah.
That's how this team is. And it's Trevor Root. And I love the whole family. They're great. Third season in FD, 29th as a rookie, and then 24th in their year last year. So a nice little jump up in points. Good driver, good team, good family. I really just think it's a reps thing now. It's just a seat time, putting in the laps and going from there.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those sleeper cells guys that I talk about that it's always the punch you don't see coming that knocks you out. And one of these drivers, him included, it can be one of them that maybe one of those more seasoned drivers or think that they're, no one's an easy battle and they might surprise you. And he's one of them.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think it's just, it's everything's there. We say this about a lot of these prospect drivers. I feel like a bit of a broken record sometimes, but everybody that we've talked about is very capable. And the proof is that they are in prospect. Absolutely. And it is an incredibly difficult series to run. In some ways more difficult than pro, because if you have one bad round, that could be your entire season. You could do very well and have one bad round and not get your pro license. That's just how it is. They don't get as many laps as pro drivers do. And oftentimes, most of them don't have as much experience in general as pro drivers do because they're only in prospect. And yeah, it's just very tough. They also, maybe you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but usually they'll go out on the track before the pro drivers do. So the tracks are less rubbered in at that point. Yep. It's usually not as great of a time in the day. So like they may not be practicing at the same time that they would compete in.
Correct.
And on events like Utah, it means that they're at a track at like 7 a.m. So that part also doesn't help.
Yeah, we're up at the butt crack of dawn to like fit all that in because it's not lit. But yeah, it's to your point. And it all goes back to like having an experience like crew chief or even the driver himself, knowing that kind of adjustments that you have to anticipate. It's the grip level of the track seems to be a moving target, if you will. So you have to anticipate, adding pressure, turning the dampers to whichever direction they need to go and knowing what to do so that you're as comfortable as you were in practice as you were competing, because having that like, oh shit moment of when something is not doing something right when in the middle of a battle, when you're chasing someone, it can throw your whole run off, and the what is it? The saying, the race is not one in the corner, something along those lines. But like our whole sport is based on one corner, and if you mess up, there's not much time to make up in the laps that we do in the 20, 30 seconds. But yeah, that's
yeah.
What the hell were we talking about? That's
just tough. Yeah. And yeah, just to kind of reiterate on a point from earlier on. So these are the drivers that are official, that are on the FD website as of the time of recording. Just putting that out there. If you are sitting here wondering, hey, where's, this driver that they talked about back as of right now, 22 weeks ago in November, that list were the approved ProSpec drivers list. Those were people that were allowed that were allowed to enter into ProSpec. That does not mean that they did enter into ProSpec. So they didn't finish their paperwork, they didn't pay their due, whatever. Like they didn't actually financially pay the money to get in. So if you're wondering where some of those drivers might be,
ask them.
Hopefully they would have talked about it. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they announced it. They've talked about it in some way. Yeah, it's just not for me to say. So most of them, I don't actually know. There's a bunch of them on that list I was very, very excited for. And then a little bit like, shit, they're not on the website. So, and once again, if somebody is not on the website that's supposed to be there, I'm really sorry if I didn't talk about you. Shoot me a line. Maybe I'll just make sure to bump you ahead and get you on the show as your own standalone episode. I don't know. But
lucky.
I do think I'm going to continue with the, if you win a ProSpec event, you're guaranteed an episode. Although realistically, listen, ProSpec drivers, we're over 100 episodes now. I need guests. You can just shoot me a line and there's a good chance I can get you on the show. So yeah, just letting you know.
Yeah,
if you've made it this far.
I don't know how many people would be interested, but maybe we should get all the track staff guys on one episode and get into that game.
So I think if we're going to do that, we need to do it on a Saturday after an event in the hotel lobby.
Oh boy.
I would actually very much like to do a track staff
That would be
episode.
the only time I think between everybody's schedule that we could do that is something along those lines. Because then everything would be fresh, especially in that event. You could talk shit about whoever, but it'd be fun.
Yeah. I only have, realistically, I could get to another podcast set up and then we could have 7 guests. Because I think that would get most of the guys. Because if not, it's only 3. Yeah. Right? It's myself and 3 other people. So then it gets tough. Who do you pick?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not asking you to pick. Yeah, I know. I'm not I don't need to create division in the track staff, but I'm just saying there's a lot of personalities and they're all really good. And if you start taking people out of the equation, it just doesn't work anymore. So yeah.
Cool.
I'm just saying. But dude, well, thank you for doing this. No, just the thank yous, I think is where we're at. I'm excited for ProSpec. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the more exciting years. We got a lot of things to talk about. A lot of fresh blood, a lot of seasoned blood, and thanks for staying up. And it's almost tomorrow for me, but you're about ready to wake up. Over there.
I'm usually getting up in a couple hours, so I
appreciate that.
Now I'm all full of energy and I'm excited. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight, so thanks, Matt.
Not sorry.
I know.
You did give me
for
an
everybody.
Out, yeah.
For everybody listening and watching, we did this last year, and it was really cool. I actually really enjoyed the comments. Please just, if you watch ProSpec or not, pick a driver and cheer for that driver this year. We did this last year, and it actually was really cool to get people's feedback on it. Just pick somebody you don't know. Pick a name you haven't heard before, one of the rookies or somebody you've never followed before, and cheer for them this year. Become their biggest fan. Make sure to follow them. If you can, follow all the drivers. It'd be greatly appreciated if you could. All their social media stuff is up on the FD website. Maybe I'll just do a big doc and give you everybody's link or something like that. But these drivers need all the support they can get. And it's just, takes a couple of clicks. That's it. And, then you get to see their cool drifting stuff pop up on your feed every once in a while. So, Matt, anything you want to plug before we wrap things up?
Nope. Let's do this dance, and we'll see you guys in Atlanta. Let's. Another cool thing is they're doing Grid Life for the first time in a long time in Atlanta, and
I'm excited.
I was gonna try and make it out there to drive my 4-door taxi, but wasn't in the cards. So, yeah. But if everybody wants to let me drive the car, I'll be there.
I would say the same thing, but I crashed the last car that someone let me drive, so probably.
What's the worst that can happen? To get some pebbles in there from the kitty litter.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no walls at Road Atlanta whatsoever at all. There's nowhere that you could do damage in that track.
Okay, hip hop.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we will catch you next week.